Hello, everybody. It is the second week of the first major of 2026, the Australian Open. I am your host here on Betting Weekly WTA, Nigel Seeley. Before I introduce you to our WTA handicapper, Tim Dennis, who is over in Egypt, please hit the subscribe button. It's very important to hit the subscribe button. I look at the analytics. So many of you watch the shows, and so many don't subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. It means so much to us. It means we can do these shows more often for you, and you'll be notified every time any content drops, either on the tennis, on the world of Premier League soccer, or into American sports as well. So please hit the subscribe button. If you're a sports betting fan, this is the #1 channel for you, so make sure you subscribe and be part of the community here on the Betting Weekly Studios. Well, let's introduce you to Tim Dennis. Good morning to you, or good afternoon to you, wherever you are in the world. Tim, how are you, mate? All right?
Good, yeah. Afternoon here, Nigel. We're a couple of hours ahead of you, so yeah, we've just we're coming up to 2 o'clock now. But yeah, really good. Yeah, the sun is shining. I've watched a bit of tennis from Australia overnight sat on the beach this morning. So yeah, I really can't complain. So could do with a couple more winners, but hopefully we'll try and find some for this show.
I think the take from last night was the extreme heat for the men and the women involved in the action in Melbourne, which played havoc for both of them. Obviously, we saw a withdrawal with Naomi Osaka. But we'll come on to the conditions in a minute, because obviously in Melbourne, it changes daily. But before we do that, we have reached the last 16 stage already. So goes so quick, the first week of a major. We're now into week number 2. And we're down to the last 16. And if we look at it, the main contenders are in it. And I suppose it's been quite an uninspiring tournament for me so far in terms of brilliant matches or shocks, as there hardly hasn't been anyone. But now the tournament really, really does get going. If you look at the draw there, you will see that there are three unseeded players through to the last 16. So 13 seeds have got through, and all the big guns are still in action. I think with 6 of the top 8 in the world still in the tournament. Let's have a look at the draw. In the top half of the draw, Sabalenka will play Mboko. We will cover the top half of the matches. We will cover today. I also asked Tim to give you some thoughts on that, but he will cover those for you in more detail on Instagram. So the top half of the draw, Sabalenka v Mboko, Putinseva v Jovic, Gauff v Muchova, Svitolina v Andreeva. That is the top half. In the bottom half of the draw, we have Jessica Pegula, Madison Keys, Wang, Anisimova, Rybakina and Mertens, and English against Świątek. English obviously got through because of the forfeit of the match from Naomi Osaka. So there we are. There is the draw. And this is the betting. To win the Australian Open, Aryna Sabalenka is still the favourite. She's plus 160. Iga Świątek plus 550. Rybakina $6. Our tip, Amanda Anisimova, who's sort of just going about her business well. She's got a decent match up, then an all-American clash, hopefully, in the quarterfinals. She's 6-1. Coco Gauff at 9, Mirra Andreeva 11, Jessica Pegula 22, Mboko 25, Madison Keys 28, Eva Jovic, the story of the tournament so far, at 28-1, Muchova 40, Svitolina 40, and then big prices, the other 4 players. Tim, what's your assessment now at the last 16 stage? Sabalenka's been the favourite throughout the tournament, but on the evidence of what I saw yesterday, she's gettable.
Yeah, we're going to talk about her match later on, and we spoke about her match previously against Potapova, and we actually went against Potapova there, but she managed to give Sabalenka a real good run for her money, taking her to 2 very close tie breaks. Like I said, we'll speak about that match in a little bit more depth there. Świątek, she seems to just be sort of going through the motions. She was excellent in the first set today, and then sort of Karolina stepped it up, and she was good again in the third. Rybakina, a little bit similar, going about her business with Anisimova too. Happy with Anisimova so far. I thought she's looked pretty sharp. Hasn't really faced a stern test yet. They're going to be to come. I mean, we had 13 of the 16 seeds in that coming through to that last 16. Unfortunately for one of our quarter bets, we lost Belinda Bencic, which was a surprise to probably no more than it was herself, as much as it was anyone else. She was very disappointing to lose that match. So Rybakina will now place Mertens in that last 16 tomorrow. But you'd be surprised I think personally, if the winner doesn't come from that top 4 in the market. I know 3 of them are on the same side, so you're only going to get one of those 3 getting through to the final, even if it is one of them. But I'd be surprised if it did come further down. Although saying that, I mean, maybe plus 2,200 there. Pegula, she looks a reasonable price. I think she'll get the better of Madison Keys in that head-to-head she's got coming up. I thought she's looked pretty good so far. But yeah, a lot to learn still, and this is where the tournament's really going to start to get interesting, isn't it? Where these better players start facing each other.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's. I think it's been a bit of a, like I say, uninspiring Australian Open so far. And I think the most talking point, and I think we have to address that straight away, is the weather. Last night, heat breaks.
I
Noshikova's
thought you were
match
going to
got.
say Naomi Osaka's first round walk on then.
What's all that about? What was all that about? I mean,
I made a
it's like
comment
going out.
today. Maybe she
Sorry.
got injured because she was carrying an umbrella instead of her racket bags in the first round.
I mean, this
Not my cup of tea, but anyway, each their
unbelievable,
own.
unbelievable. Since you haven't seen it, check it out on YouTube. Naomi Osaka entrance into the ring. I put in it. Savers dancing was good against Sommers. I think that's probably been my highlight a bit of that. And then we're going to come on to her match as well. She's going to have the crowd against her against Jovic. But I think the most important thing is the weather conditions. And yesterday we saw Yannick Sinner in the men's draw absolutely cramping up, and then they've closed the roof. He went and sorted himself out and came back and won the match. We saw Noshkova. We even saw Iga Swiatek have a medical timeout in set number just before the third set last night. So the weather is really, really crucial, and yeah, I think that's going to play a huge, huge part. It's going to be a battle of the fittest. And what is the latest weather conditions in Melbourne? I know you're looking at the weather forecasting in Egypt rather than Melbourne in Australia, but what have we got? What is it going to continue this hot streak, or we're going to have a little bit of a calm, cooler period for the players this evening?
Well, it's very up and down. I mean, as far as the matches we're looking at that take place tomorrow, they're back to how they were for the previous rounds matches that we spoke about for, I think that was Friday. Back in the mid-70s, no rain forecast. Like we said, exactly as those matches have been played on the Friday there. I think the conditions are going to get hotter again going into next week. But, I mean, they're going to be nothing like they were today. There's going to be nowhere near the hundreds or any sort of roofs on courts. I think we're going to be back to normal here, mid-70s, and sort of no excuses for anybody. We had Noskova there. I think she played 4 games. Her match started, and then they had to break for 5 hours because of the heat today. So, and like with Sinner, I mean, he did get very fortunate there, didn't he? But I don't think that's going to be an issue with any of these matches tomorrow. Nice temperatures, no interruptions, and no excuses for anyone, I don't think.
Well, let's get straight into the bets. Let's start into the quarterfinal. The last 16 matches in the women's singles at the Australian Open. And our first match is a tasty match. It's 7:30 p.m. It's one of the first matches on call Eastern time, that is. And it's Aryna Sabalenka, the tournament favourite, number 1 seed, up against Victoria Mboko. Sabalenka is minus 590 with Bet Rivers here, and Mboko is plus 440. Spread is looks a very high 5.5. Total looks cheap as well at 19.5. Set bets in there, set spreads as well. Tim will have you covered on all the 60 different markets available with Bet Rivers. He loves a prop bet, and he loves one of those specials, so I'm sure he'll have his eyes on those. They've never met each other, these two, and both of them in great form this year. Mboko is 8 wins and 2 losses. Sabalenka is yet to lose. But to be fair, Sabalenka hasn't played anybody, I don't think. I mean, she's played Keys, Muchova, they were her toughest matches. I think this is her toughest match of the year so far against an informed Mboko who's hitting it well, good against Towson, got to the final against in Adelaide for us, got beat by Andreeva in the final, but full of confidence. And when we know this girl is hot, as we saw in Canada last year, when she's hot, she's really hot. And I wasn't impressed at all by Sabalenka in that Potapova the win 7-6, 7-6, and Sabalenka of old would have lost that match, but I think this is a tougher test than those odds suggest. I know I'm not quite sure what angle you're going to come at it here, Tim, but I think this is difficult.
Yeah, I think a difficult match to have a real strong opinion of. Obviously, it's their first meeting, and just starting with Mboko, she's played 10 matches so far this year, and the only matches she's lost in that final to Andreeva and against Mertens in 3 sets in the United Cup. And we've seen some of the tennis Mertens has played so far this week. So no disrespect in losing any of those 2 matches. She went on to say after that final against Andreeva, she wasn't 100% in that final, and she actually took a medical timeout in the second set. And she lost her first set of the tournament here against Clara Towson in the last round in a 3-set match that she actually did pretty well to come through. She's played 6 top 10 opponents in her career, and she's beaten Madison Keys and Coco Gauff are the only 2 she's beaten, but she's lost the others all in straight sets, actually. And she's got a service points, 1 return points, 1 totals against those top 10 players of 92.4%. And that's over the last 52 weeks. And if you look at sort of a similar comparison with Sabalenka's, hers is up in 105.2 over a 52-week period. So you can just sort of see the difference, sort of world number 1 compared to Mboko, but Mboko certainly is on the rise. As far as Sabalenka is concerned, she was pushed hard, wasn't she, by Potapova in her last round in sort of 2 very close tie breaks that she did well to come through. And we saw last year she was the tie break queen. I think she I think she won 97% of the tiebreaks she played last year, some sort of ridiculous stat like that. So she's very comfortable in those situations. But she hit 44 unforced errors in that match against Potapova, which is more than she hit in her first 2 rounds combined. So maybe that's the reason why she was pushed so tight, whether it was because Potapova played better than we expected. Maybe that's the case, but I think Sabalenka certainly underperformed. And I think there's 2 ways you can sort of look coming into this match. Do you expect Sabalenka to tidy up those errors and be a little bit more focused, or are you looking on those errors continuing? So I think it's a difficult match to really be confident on. So when I looked at this, the total was 20.5 was minus 106 with Bet Rivers. I'll have to check that's still the same price. We've got 19.5 on the screen there, but I think it would just be a lean for me, but I'd be looking to go over 20.5 games at minus 106, because I think Mboko certainly carries the weapons to trouble Sabalenka here. And if she doesn't tidy up what she played against Potapova in the previous round, I think this has got the distance to certainly cover that 20.5 games.
Well, you can move the toggle on the Bet Rivers website up and down to whichever total you want to play. You can play 19.5, 20.5, 21.5. If you want to be brave, you can go 22.5. If you want to be even brave, you can go 24.5. If you want to be a bit stupid. But anyway, that's the line there. 19.5 is currently, 20.5 is available on there, and you can download the Bet Rivers app. And if you want to watch this match tonight at 7:30 p.m, you can live stream it on the Bet Rivers app as well. So that is Sabalenka and Mboko. We've got a lean on that one for over the games. Depending on which one you want to play. Then let's move on to our next match. It's 9 p.m. It's public enemy number 1, Yulia Putinseva, up against the darling of the Australian Open this year, Jovic. We knew the potential of the young girl last season. She was a breakthrough year, but now a win here will put the young American into the top 20 of the world for the first time. Never met before, obviously, because Jovic is just starting out in her career, but these are 2 players that are probably in different stages, massively different stages of their career. Jovic is minus 305, Putinseva plus 235. The spread is 4.5. Total here is 20.5. There is the set betting, there is the set spreads. Putinseva turned the crowd against her, against Sommes, and used it to her advantage. And I think she's going to be in for a very, very hostile afternoon here against Jovic. But this is a big match for the young girl. She's in great form. She got to the final of Hobart, got beat by our pick 50-1 Cocciaretta. Got to the semi-finals of Auckland, got beat by our pick again, Svitolina. She should win this match, but the occasion is going to be very, very, very difficult for a young girl to deal with. I know we got it wrong about Paolini. We thought that the experience might come through, but, you know, she's minus 305 here, and Puntiseva's thriving on this baddie role that she's got, isn't she?
Yes, I think I always find with these players that when they win and come through, then it's all well and good saying, oh, I was never going to lose today with that crowd behind me. I was that sort of pumped me up, and I was never going to let them get the better of me. But I think as soon as you see them sort of end up losing that match, and the toys come out the pram a little bit more. So that match was close with Somnes. Full credit to her. She did come through it well, but I just thought Somnes' level perhaps dropped a bit, having taken that second set. Whether Putinseva up to 11, I'm not quite sure. But Jovic, she could be, even though she's American, she might be a bit of a fan favourite here, I think. And I think they are going to be against Putinseva again, and whether that's going to play into her hands against a player who's another level up from Sonmez in Jovic here, I think I'm going to be surprised. I did say I thought that Jovic-Paolini match was a little bit difficult to call, hence we only went with a lean, and she was excellent, wasn't she, against Paolini? She's now won 10 of her 12 matches played so far this year, losing to just tournament winners, the only matches she's lost. And I think against Paolini, she was excellent. She dominated that service points one, return points one, total 112 to 88, which shows just how far she's come, because previously that matchup, Paolini led at 104 to 96. So you can see how much she's turned it around there and a bit more. And the one thing I've been really taken about Jovic is her serve. It's improved massively. And I was looking at the numbers, and in her last 4 months, I mean, when she played Paolini in the US Open, her average first serve speed was 146 kilometers an hour. And in similar conditions, sort of temperatures and similar court speeds, she's ramped it up to 163 against Paolini on Friday. So a massive upgrade there. So I think that's a real sort of, whether she's sort of physically getting better, where that's coming from, you could easily see that. And I just think Putinseva is clearly going to have the crowd against her here, isn't she? And I think in the last 52-week period, Putinseva has played 15 matches against top 50 opponents, and she's only won one of those, which was against Buskova just before coming here, actually. And I think 10 of those matches she's lost in straight sets. So I think I'm going to switch allegiances to Jovic, where I was with Karolina the other day. And I like Jovic here to get this done in straight sets, to be honest. I think she's a better player, a higher level, going to have the crowd behind her. And I think -1.5 sets, she's just a hint of minus money here is -113 with Bet Rivers. It's -115 to 2-0, but you can eke out a fraction more value at the Jovic -1.5 sets at -113 with Bet Rivers here. I think is a good way to go. I think she's just got too much quality.
Is that an official play?
Yeah, that is our first official play of the last 16. Yeah.
So we're going to go Jovic -1.5 sets with Bet Rivers at -113. Remember, we have teamed up with Bet Rivers to give you a little bit of extra as a bonus on the show here. You get an Australian Open bonus bet with Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers. All you have to do is enter the bonus code BWAO26. That's Betting Weekly Australian Open 26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on any Australian Open wager. You can go with Tim, you can disagree with Tim. That code again is BWAO26, and the offer expires on January the 31st when the tournament ends. You must be 21, eligible players only, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, when you log into the Bet Rivers your app, you can receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on the day's matches. So that's that code again, BWAO26. Okay, our next match is a match involving Coco Gauff and Karolina Muchova. Now, I don't know about you, Tim, but I think Coco Gauff is going under the radar here. I mean, she's way adrift from the prices from the top. You said the top 4, but Gauff is playing well. She's okay. I know she struggles a little bit and her serve goes in and out, but she's a 2-time major champion. She's got the goods to go well here, and she's up against an opponent in Karolina Muchova who's given her no trouble in the past before. They met 4 times previously, and it's 4 wins on the spin for Coco Gauff, and she's never even taken a set off her. Very convincing head-to-head record, and that's sort of reflected in the odds here. -205 for Coco Gauff, +165 for Karolina Muchova. Spread is 3.5, and total 21. If you want to bet Gauff again to win 2 sets to love, it's +120 with Bet Rivers. Surprising though for me, I mean, you'll probably have the stats to back it up, but there's been an early move for Muchova. Decent money, decent move for Muchova since the odds have come out. If you're a head-to-head follower and you're an American bettor, you might want to get Gauff. That match is 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I forgot to tell you the Jovic match is 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, all these matches live streamed on the Bet Rivers app.
Yeah, as far as the head-to-head goes here, I mean, Gauff has been completely dominant. I mean, those 4 matches and 8 sets to love have all come on outdoor hard, all in the past 30-month period. So fairly recent as well. I mean, it's not like this was years ago. Gauff has been completely dominant in this, like we said, leading the service points one, return points one, total 116.75 to just 83.25 for Muchova over those 4 matches. She's winning 73.25% of first serve points won compared to just 53 for Muchova, and 44.5% of second serve points won compared to just 39.25 for Muchova. And that includes the 17 double faults that Gauff has served in those 4 matches. So, I mean, miles ahead on the stats. And I mean, maybe the money is coming from Muchova. I mean, she was very impressive against Magda. She comfortably landed a bet for us. I think we won Magda under games there, and I think she destroyed a 6-1, 6-1. So maybe people are looking at that. But I mean, looking at the stats, I think it's very difficult to get away from Gauff. It's clearly a matchup that Gauff feels completely comfortable with, and that Muchova has deeply struggled with, a bit vice versa. We spoke about the Muchova-Magda matchup and how Linette just can't get to grips with Muchova, and this seems to be the same case, but the other way around in Gauff's favour. I think that second serve is still an issue for Gauff. She's served 17 double faults here across her 3 matches, and she's probably likely to serve at least 5 more in the match tomorrow, depending on how long it goes. Muchova has been warming away into the tournament. We said that before she played Linette. But I think looking at the stats here and looking at the head-to-head, and even with the court conditions being a little bit slicker, but Gauff they're similar probably to the US Open, and Gauff has beaten her there as well. And with the conditions, only sort of mid-70s tomorrow, it's not like it's going to be baking hot and ridiculously quick. I just think this is Gauff's to lose again. And the bet I most like is Gauff under 12.5 total player games at -117 with Bet Rivers. And and this is probably a better like. Obviously, it brings in. She's probably going to have to win in straight sets for us to cash that. Obviously, if one of these matches goes to
wouldn't set 2-0 be the better plus 120?
You're just throwing me there because I mean I didn't look at the price last night. Gauff 2-0. I suppose the only way
if she wins under 12.5 games, she wins the trade. She's going to win 20. The only way she can lose that if she gets beat by a. No, she can't. It's under 2.5 games, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah, I guess the only way you sort of get the other side in your favour is if you kind of get two bites of the cherry, if you like. You can get it completely wrong, and Muchova beat her 6-4, 6-4, and still win the bet, even though you're thinking Gauff's going to win comfortably, and you've ended up getting it completely wrong, but you've still cashed. So I think that there is, or let's say Gauff wins 2-1. Or sorry, Muchova.
Yeah, you're going to win 2 sets to love. Muchova 2 sets to love, or a Gauff 2 sets to love. You're going to win on the bet, really. So you've called it bang on right, or you called it completely wrong, and you're cash.
Yeah, it's one of those bets you can call completely wrong and still get paid. So I think I am with Gauff here, and it's funny you mentioned that because I also wanted to sort of add a little bit of an extra stake here. I wanted to have half a point on Coco Gauff minus 1.5 sets at plus 125. Again,
right.
Eking out a little bit more value if we can there, sort of the extra 125 instead of 120. So yeah, I wanted to go with Gauff under 12.5 total player games at minus 117. And I also wanted to get with Gauff minus 1.5 sets at plus 125.
There's a couple of angles there. Coco Gauff, you can play the 2-0, you can play the under 12.5 games, you can get with Gauff minus 1.5 sets, which is a great price, and always a little bit of value. I don't know if I ever understand that. One of them is a couple of points higher than the other one isn't, but it's always a good spot. And the man going through all the app and finding all those price differentials for you is Tim Dennis, and he's the man who's done it. Our final match, I think this is quite an interesting one. I think we could get I don't know what you're going to think about this, but I think Mirra Andreeva is gettable here. But she's up against Elina Svitolina. Mirra Andreeva's minus $2. Svitolina is at plus 160. The night match is 4:40 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want to get up nice and early, you can live stream this match on the Bet Rivers app. Make sure you download it. 3.5 is the spread. 21.5 is the total here. I don't know what's going on in Mirra Andreeva's head at the moment, because swearing in the crowd. Every one of her post-match interviews, she sounds like a sport kid. She's always making jokes in the box, but the jokes aren't, when someone tells a joke and they're not funny, and everyone just sort of laughs out of embarrassment. She's just a young kid who's just got, I don't know, she's got too cocky. I don't know what it is. And Svitolina is obviously someone who everybody loves wherever she goes. She's never really done it in the majors, but she's been in great form this year. She's 8-0, and I just want her to beat this sport little so-and-so Andreeva. I'm not liking what I see here. What's your thought on this one?
I can see what you mean, Nigel. I think she's walking a tightrope, isn't she, with that crowd? I think you're talking about when she came off after winning her match the other day, and she sort of, it was a bit of a whisper, but it was picked up by sort of Instagram videos that she wasn't very complimentary about the Australian crowd.
But it said her interviews as well. She makes funny jokes. She sort of says, "Oh, like I'm working out here while you're in my box." She's always like being funny, and like they pan to Conchita Martinez, who's just sitting there like nervously laughing, like when you see these kids are like, my daughter was in a dance class, and the kids are like the dancers who thought they were brilliant, and the mums was just sitting there going, "Oh God, here she goes again." Oh yeah, get right, darling, all right, darling, spoiled little brat. That's what she's like, that Mirra Andreeva. She's just like, she's not likable, but she burst on the scene. One Indian Wells, one Dubai, and everyone thought, "Oh, what a nice kid." But she's public relations exercise is awful.
Yeah, maybe she needs to hire someone to help her out with that. Perhaps
I'm available.
You're available, yeah. Then we'll be pandering to her, Nigel. Then, but she's only sort of 6 months. 6 months older than Eva Jovic, I think, and it just goes to show how much she's done in her career, like winning those thousands of events last year, 2 of them. Obviously struggled at the end of the season. I think that was showing her age a little bit there. She was way too much tennis. Obviously, she doesn't have a normal teenager life. She's not hanging out with mates and going to parties. She's earning millions of dollars playing tennis, traveling the world. I mean, what a great life. But I think it does come with its own stresses. They've met once before, these two. Andreeva leads that 1-0, winning that in Indian Wells before going on to take the title. 7-5, 6-3. I think she dominated the service points, one return points, one to 120-80.
She was minus $3 that day, Tim. She's minus $2 today.
Yeah, I think Svitolina's come a long way since then. She did hold serve 90% of the time in that match, 9 out of 10 times. I think we all know this will be a little bit of a grudge match given each individual's nationalities. And like we spoke about with Andreeva, I don't think she's endeared herself to the crowd here. So she's certainly going to be the favourite here, Svitolina, as far as the fans are concerned. Andreeva, I thought she was excellent against Zachary and Gabriela Rusa. I think she won 15 out of her 17 service games across those two matches, having come from a set down to beat Donna Vekic in round one. That was just 2 days after she won the tournament in Adelaide, though. So I think you can probably perhaps forgive her that slow start. As far as Svitolina concerned, she's only lost one set in the 8 matches she's played so far this year. I think that was against the Brit in the tournament she won in Auckland, Sonny Cartel. And so she's been excellent in every match apart from that. She's been very strong on serve here, winning 81% of her service games. And I thought when I first looked at this match, this was a little bit of a tricky one to call. But the more I sort of looked at it, the more I think I found a bet that I'm really keen on. I expect a very close first set here, a little bit similar to the one they had in Indian Wells, where on slightly slower courts, the first break of serve came in the 11th game of that match. And in fact, there are only 2 break points in the first 10 games, and they both came in the 4th game of the match. So I think in slightly quicker conditions, the way they're so consistent on serve and been so solid on serve so far this tournament, the main bet I wanted to get was with over 9.5 at the plus 102 in the first set. And I also wanted to sort of have a little bit of split stakes on over 10.5. And I was half tempted to speak to you about this, Nigel. I'm definitely going to bet the over 10.5. Do you think we should add in the over 12.5 as well? Do you think it's value to do that when you do these? Because obviously they only need to win another service game each after they get to 10.5. But I certainly want to do the over 9.5 and 10.5. And it's just a question of whether we add in the tiebreak as well.
Well, I mean, you can do. I mean, I would, if I was doing that, I'd probably go to 10.5 and 12.5 and leave the 9.5. I think if you 9.5 and 10.5 would probably be adequate enough for me. I would two on one, because if I don't want to lose 3 units on one particular play if it was 6-3 to each one player. So I'd probably, I'd advise anyone who wanted to play it would be if anyone wanted to be a bit more risque, do it. But I would just play the 2 personally.
Yeah, perhaps we'll do that. If we do 1 1/4 units on over 9.5 and then 3/4 of a unit on 10.5. Maybe that's the best way of looking at it.
Yeah. What price are we getting for the 9.5 and 10.5?
The 9.5 is plus 102, and the 10.5 is plus 295.
Yeah, I mean that 9.5 sounds like a nice bet. That's a nice good bet, and obviously with cash, if we just get the 1, so that would be my strategy there. So I think that's the best thing to do. Tim, give us a recap of our official plays. We've got a few there.
Yeah, our official plays. So we'll just cover that Elina Svitolina Mirra Andreeva match. We're going to do 1 1/4 points on over 9.5 games in the first set at plus 102, and then 3/4 of a point on plus 10.5 games at plus 295. In the Aryna Sabalenka Victoria Mboko game, no official player there, just a lean over 20.5 total games at minus 106. Coco Gauff versus Karolina Muchova. I think if we have 1 point on Gauff under 12.5 player games at minus 117, and then 0.5 point on Coco Gauff minus 1.5 sets at plus 125. And our final official play will be coming in Eva Jovic against Yulia Putinseva. Eva Jovic minus 1.5 sets at minus 113.
There, busy night of action. Action starts at 7:30 p.m. with that Sabalenka match. And remember that bonus code. We're giving you an Australian Open bonus from Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers. Enter the bonus code BWAO26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on any Australian Open wager. The code again is BWAO26. The offer expires on the January the 31st. You must be 21, eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, when you log into Bet Rivers, you can receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on the day's matches. And finally, I'll be back tomorrow with Sean Calvert looking at the men's singles on game bet match. Next week, we'll be covering all the action on the men's and the women's tour, on the women's draws. And remember, whenever there isn't a show being shown here, so if we're doing the women's today, there's no men's show. But there always are picks available on our Betting Weekly Instagram account at Because We Win. And amazingly, we are 5-0 on our daily picks this week. 2 from Tim, 2 from myself, and 1 from Sean. And Sean is giving us a pick today. And Tim will cover those other matches in the last 16 that we've got there on the draw, which we haven't covered today, in the bottom half of the draw. that will be covered on Instagram as well. So please hit subscribe and follow us, our Instagram account. It's growing all the time, and we're building a bit of a community up there, and we're cashing tickets. So make sure you follow us on our Instagram account and across all our socials at Because We Win. Back tomorrow with Sean. Myself and Tim will be back sometime next week. Have a good day in the sunshine. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Nigel. Yeah, we'll do. We'll look forward to hopefully backing a few winners, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, a busy night tennis action as well. Catch the soccer as well. Busy day of soccer across in the UK and in Europe as well. 2 shows covering out on Betting Weekly Premier League and also Betting Weekly Extra Time. And a big week next week as we count down to the Super Bowl stateside as well on Betting Weekly Live with Mike and Doug. Take care, everyone, and have a good weekend. And we'll speak to you all again next week on WTA tomorrow with Sean and Game Bet Match.